Hey everyone, Rachel Jensen here, broker owner of Luna Realty Belize in the beautiful country of Belize. We are in the inbox today, which is when we answer questions that have been asked by folks like you. And we are on question number 72 this week, and it has been asked by Marcia, and she's asking more about the closing process. Last week, we did a full session about what that closing process looks like. And today, Marcia is asking a very specific question about what that closing process looks like and the special part during that close. And she said, do I need to be here in person to close? So the closing period takes about 2 months, and I will add the link to the description below if you want to review what that entire closing process looks like. But during that last part of the close, there is a document called the deed of conveyance, which needs to be signed by both parties. Now, note, you do not need to be here in person to close. You do not need to be here in person to close. In fact, I'd probably defer your trip down here until the property has been closed, because it's not uncommon for there to be delays in the closing process. Now, if you live here in Belize already, obviously you can stay right here, not a problem. But if you are not based down here, you do not need to be going down to Belize. What you're going to do is get a deed of conveyance, and that deed of conveyance is sent to you by the closing agent, and you need to put your wet signature on that deed of conveyance. It is a hard copy piece of paper. You'll need to do that in front of the notary. Then you'll send it off to the seller, and then the seller will send it off to the closing company. Sometimes the closing company swaps it. Sometimes it's sent to the seller first, and then the seller sends it off to the buyer, but that depends on the closing company. So I do want to say, and I'm going to repeat this, defer your visit if you're planning to stay in your unit or in your new property until that close happens, because it is not uncommon for there to be delays. And, for example, people may be traveling, the buyers and the sellers may not be home at the time that it arrives at their house, or there was a holiday here in Belize and it took a couple extra days to get the documents over to you. Regardless of what that is, if you're not closed, then the seller typically won't let you stay in the property, complimentary. Maybe you can work out some arrangement with them, but it really doesn't make sense for you to be here yet if that property is not closed on. So it's great. You can do everything from afar, but if you have any specific questions about the closing process when you're going through that or about to go through that, let us know. Of course, we'll get those answered for you. But in the meantime, make sure you look at the description below and look for the link from last week where we talk about the closing process in greater detail. So our team here has tons of complimentary resources. This is, I think, one of the best one and most effective for somebody who is just starting to look at property here in Belize. It is New Belize Buyer's Guide. Plus, we have tons of other resources, but feel free to reach out to me, info@lunarealtybelize.com. Info@lunarealtybelize.com is one of the best ways to get in contact with me. We'll get this over to you if this is something you're interested in, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, we'll see you here in Belize, everyone. See you soon.